contract exclusive to sell this evening. They want to move up from a walk-up building to a full-service elevator building. We're going to put them in a 1 year rental because they need to sell to buy, but they don't want the pressure of having to do that and finding the right place and blah blah blah. So I sell their apartment. I get them into a rental. For the next year, we find the new place that they're going to move into.
Yeah,
Life is good.
very good. Okay, so question for you, Terry. Can you squeeze the rock a little bit more? Is there any more opportunity that may come from that again? And the answer may be no, but I'm challenging you and everyone else to think it through and to think about what other opportunities really lie in the single person. Here's the thing, you all think that you need to go and get leads. And anyone who coaches with me knows that that is in fact the case. I will harp on that over and over and over again. Um, but sometimes you already have the leads. And if you could actually take a look at that critically, you'll be able to see that there is that opportunity. I've also heard, I'm very happy to hear Terry. We got another Terry in the meeting, Terry. So when I say Terry, I'm referring to my good friend Terry Robeson and my new friend Terry Graff is here. Haven't met her yet, but we'll talk. Um, but we've seen so many times where people just ignore the other deals that lie in that. So I want to do that. Let's take a look at this. Um, when you actually create a transaction or do a transaction, I'm going to ask this of Paula. Do you go to this, and Paul, when you unmute yourself, please introduce yourself. When you go to the meeting, are you actually going in with the next deal in mind? And if so, has that worked? The answer again could be no. But I'm just curious to see when you've actually gone in and gotten the listing or gotten the buyer, have you gone singularly transaction focused, or have you actually thought to yourself, wait a minute, they've got a kid, they've got that needs a place, they've got other needs. Talk to me about that for a moment.
Yeah, no, I don't think like that, and I should. But as you're talking, I'm writing down I have to do postcards for a circle mailing around one of my sold properties. So I have done it in the past, like to try to drum up more business. Um, it hasn't happened in a very long time that I got a listing on the block just from having the other listing, a successful sale. So we have to focus on that more, circle prospecting, circle dialing, whatever you want to call it. It's just something that we don't really focus on. We should.
And here's the thing, it's not just you, it's all of us. I don't pick on Paula. I pick on
I
myself.
know.
Okay. So I want to be very clear. And everything that I ask here is to challenge you to try and make it a little bit better. Paula, share with us, we work together one-on-one. Share with us what, your database a little bit without saying who's in the database, how many people are in it, what are some of the ways that we're talking about marketing to them. Again, if you're uncomfortable with it, let me know. I don't want to let out any corporate secrets here,
Not at all. My actual database has about 1,200 people in it.
right?
Some of them I really don't know where they came from, but I do try to keep track. Like after we have an open house, for example, I'll take all those people and plug them into my phone. I use tags on almost everybody that's in my phone. It's helped me a lot,
It certainly does.
like buyer, seller, and I put the date on it because if they've been sitting in my phone since 2021 and it says buyer, I may delete them because that's a long time ago, and maybe it's worth a phone call, but just getting back to the dialing and the people. From that 1,200 or so, 1,100 and change, I have a list of about 300 people that were past clients, friends, family, and I mail stuff to them. So one of the things that's on my to-do list with Mia is creating that newsletter. So I'm really focused on trying to get out a paper newsletter and an email newsletter. That kind of thing has produced business for us by just sending it out to the neighborhood and saying, hey, these are some recent sales. And somebody actually, like call to action, like if you want to know what your house is worth, you got to say that. And it's produced a very expensive listing for us in the neighborhood.
Okay, good. Well, and we'll get into this a little bit more as far. So you said, but let's get into the database itself for a second. How many people in the database do you think? How many people are actually?
Almost 1,200. So I
Okay.
keep trying to add, and there should be more people that I can add to it, of course. But I get a little sloppy with trying to, if you can't figure out who all these people are, when I had the VA, I just did a data dump of my phone and I said, here's all the people that are in my phone. Eliminate duplicates. The tags were on them and he added them to the database. So that helped grow it because as you're putting new buyers and sellers or customers, whatever, in your phone, you forget to add that to your database, your
Sure.
CRM. And that's really important to stay in touch with people. And if they unsubscribe, they unsubscribe.
Okay.
What can you do?
So good. You brought up something for our next thing. We're going to talk about automation, the big A, because we need that from one to match the other. You also said something that raised a red flag that I think Aton might want to chime in on is the deletion of a lead in the database. Now, Aton, you could give me either a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you don't want to talk. What do you think about deleting people out of the database, Aton?
Never, never, never.
Never.
Really?
Never. But then what is poor Paula to do? What is she to do? She doesn't know who the hell they are. They might not even live anymore. Eitan, talk to us.
Well, I mean, you could make it inactive or tag it somewhere, but there's always a possibility that that person might need to resource to your services again.
Right. Or
So
know somebody that needs. We were talking about that in our office meeting yesterday where my manager said, don't delete. If they really want to say unsubscribe, just put them in a like an archive kind of place,
Correct.
I mean, you could tag them as dead, but
Yeah.
dead leads, but it could be resurrected. I mean,
And here's what I want you to do, Paula.
especially this is somebody you probably had contact with, is in touch with at one point or another, and they will remember you.
Right.
And and here's another thought for you, Paula. The people that are dead or inactive, we don't need to be so morbid about this whole thing. Once they're actually properly categorized or tagged, let's talk about, we'll call it the Hail Mary drip campaign. It's a Hail Mary. It's just like, okay, great, screw it. I'm going to throw the football. And if somebody's there to actually catch it, I've got nothing to lose. We're about to lose the game here. Let's do that Hail Mary. Same thing with these dead leads. I've seen so many times dead leads come back to life, which is why I think, and if you could, again, remember the letter A, automate the process, you're no worse off, right? So let's say I'm totally wrong, and for the rest of your career, not one of those people actually mattered. The way this is being set up right now is, and again, Lavette, thank you for chiming in, add it to a drip campaign. We need to focus a little bit more on drip campaigns for all of you. Big, big.
Right. And then I love what you always say, Ed. Who do you know?
Mm,
Who do you know? I think you say that. Who do you know, that may want this house or may need real estate services? Who do you know? Everybody knows somebody.
sure. Here's the other thing for you when it comes to turning one lead into multiple leads. Today, more than ever before, have we been able to know the connections between people. We've never, in any time in human history, had more connections to people where you could literally get in with some of the highest level folks in business and government and anything that you want. There's just too many ways in. Let me give you one idea to help you along. How many of you are on a program on a social media called LinkedIn? I say that very basically because a lot of you are not. Okay. So on LinkedIn, it's a little bit, it's to me the old man's social media. It's not going to attract the same TikTokers, although I am on TikTok. Don't pay much attention to me on that because I don't. It's not my biggest thing. But on LinkedIn, one of the great features of this is that you can see the connections that you have between people. So when you're actually working with a client, one task, Paula and Terry, and every one of you should actually put into your checklist is when you get that listing, check on LinkedIn to see how you might be connected. What interconnections do you have with that person? So have them connect with you on LinkedIn. Most people do. Again, if they don't, that's it. Move away. You don't need to harp on that. But you could take a look at who they are actually connected to. And from there, you'll be able to um, hopefully turn that into more of an opportunity. You'll be able to actually turn this more into what's going on. You also have people who are actually living within the neighborhood. Again, Dana and Mandy are not here right now. I'll have to yell at them, but we went circle prospecting together yesterday over the phone, and we reached out to people in their neighborhood. And I'll walk you through one of the things that they did. Again, this was my advice to them, and they did this. They sponsored a parade, this little thing for their fundraiser, Boys and Girls Club. There was several hundred people that showed up there. They asked the simple question, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell a home? Okay, they made it sound a little bit better than what I just said. And then from there, somebody said yes. As a matter of fact, this woman who lives just 3 doors down from you, by the way, her husband regrettably just passed away. So what did they do? They were apprehensive. Together, we actually made the call because they said she wants to sell the home. Again, you guys may or may not like this. I'm just telling you what works. If it doesn't work for you, then that's fine. You may or may not like this, but I'm telling you a actual case history here. Called the lady up and said, look, I'm in the neighborhood. I just want to introduce myself. I'm here with my partner. Remember what I taught you before about cold calling? Nobody ever hears people cold calling with two people at the same time. So it could start something like this. Oh, there's the balloons again. Um, you know, hey, Terry, this is Edmund Bogen and Eitan Benzeno from REIGNation. And Eitan would say, hey, Terry, it completely screws somebody up. They're not going to hang up at that
What?
point.
There's
What?
two people here?
Two
What?
people on a cold call. It's very strange. Now, with the intelligence that they got, they knew this woman said to people, several people, that she wants to sell. Now the woman's actually listening. What's going on? And I'm a neighbor of yours. Okay, now it gets even better. You're not just some anonymous thing. And I wanted to see if, now she's leveling with her. I'm trying to grow out my real estate practice and I'm trying to find people who know people in the neighborhood I was hoping I could meet. She brought up the fact that she was widowed. She brought up another fact that was actually terrifying. She just lost a grandchild. I mean, this woman's gone through some devastating stuff. Now, um, my clients are very observant, very religious, goes to church on a regular basis, and it turned out that this woman did as well. If in fact somebody wants to pray with you, pray with them if that's your thing. If you think that that's taking advantage or somehow offensive to your religion, think it through and think it through really hard. You could give the money that you make to your church. God will thank you. Okay, you could take the money. There's nothing wrong. I don't think any. I really reject the whole notion that you have to suffer in order for you to be a good person. I do reject the notion that you should lie and take advantage of people. That's definitely a bad thing. But I will tell you that this actually worked. And guess what? They got the meeting. And guess what? The woman's going to be moving here. So the methodology actually worked. I want you to really stop and think through that we could take a look at these really critical moments in your career. The intelligence is huge. Now you need a vehicle to get from point A to point B. Are you bold enough to make that call? You might not be. Oftentimes I'm not. It's not a symptom of a disease. It's a human condition. That's how we are. Okay? But strategy and structure is going to work out, and that's what has worked out with them. So to talk about this in the workbook, there's a pre-session quick assessment to try and take a look at your leverage score. How many transactions have you had? How often you're speaking to the people who you've done those transactions for? Who is your great lead source? Now, some of you, when I'm talking with you one-on-one, you're like, wow, that guy's given me a couple of leads in the last year. This is somebody that you need to somehow database differently. Or as Eitan was saying, hashtag differently. We need to treat that person a little bit differently. This might sound like the master of the obvious, but I will challenge all of you. 95% of you aren't doing this. So if the only thing we do today is serve as a great reminder, then mazel tov. I love it. We reminded you of something. Okay. And I got Terry dancing, so that's a good thing. So let's talk about the difference. The average client completes a transaction and moves on. You might be guilty of this. Here's the new you. You're going to create 3 to 7 opportunities from each transaction. By the end of this meeting, I want all of you to give me, and you could put it into the chat right now, how you would create more than one opportunity. Somebody's going to come up with an idea that I haven't thought of. Somebody's going to come up with something right now that I haven't considered, and that we're going to say, wow, it's going to be my light bulb moment. You're going to give that as a gift to me and everyone else here, and somebody else is going to do the same for you. We're going to be reactive to market conditions? No, we're going to anticipate market conditions. That's why next week we're talking about the following quarter. What kind of planning do we have to have here? I know that all the snowbirds are going to be going away at the end of next quarter. And there's going to be a whole load of people that need to move here to get their kids into school. How are we changing our marketing approach? Very, very important. Okay. Um, you could either work in the business or work on the business. What is the actual structure of the business that you have right now? I know it's very hard to think about when the phone's not ringing and you don't have enough stuff going on. But what you all need to realize is that you own a marketing company and you've got one single client, and that single client happens to sell real estate. I need you to have a bit of a split personality. Terry, you just pointed to yourself. You want to share? What does that mean? You're shooting yourself?
That means I am that person. I am that business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I want to shoot myself in the head because I don't do all the things that I think that I should do.
Okay. And here's the and you're not going to do everything. You guys are going to cherry pick items that we talk about here. And I always say the law of three. I'd love for you to adopt three of these strategies, and then you'll be able to see this. Now, let's see. Kenny Bellini said, meet your buyer face to face at their office to sign escrow instructions, not electronically. Meet more people in their office. You know what? I got to tell you, master of the obvious, Kenny, but fuck
Yeah,
it.
I've got one
Hold
lot
on,
for
Kenny.
my
Tell everyone where you are.
I can't even believe it. Right now, I'm out in my mountain house outside of LA and it's 30 degrees out.
Yeah.
But I do business in LA and, there's a lot of big corporations. I used to do a lot of relocation work years ago for Coldwell Banker and everything. But, and a lot of people would move to LA and not some of them not East Coast even, not even used to escrow instructions and so forth in some ways. But I almost discovered this by accident. I would just like, let me go over the paperwork with you, not at your home, but just, they have office hours. Go to their office. I've got one big law firm I've represented like 7 attorneys at. Okay. Just because, and don't do it with your offers in case they lose. So when they have their escrow instructions, they're all excited about opening escrow. They'll walk and introduce me to a couple other people in their office. And I wound up with I had a senior partner at the office and I wound up with a couple of junior agents. They turned me over that were just new. So you get face to face to people. Don't just shoot them paper on a computer. You miss that great opportunities to meet the people.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for that, Kenny. Always the voice of reason. How many kids, I guess the boys might have done this more, had baseball cards when they were, I'm sure Paul Zweeben had baseball cards when he was a kid. He probably still has baseball cards. Okay. I love the idea of actually becoming a deal maker. To do that, think about the boys that have the baseball cards. I had a Reggie Jackson card. Okay, for those of you who are too young, Reggie Jackson was a famous baseball player for the New York Yankees. And somebody else had a Pete Rose card. Okay, you want to trade. You want to trade. Oh no, my Pete Rose is so much better than Reggie Jackson. And then we'd get into an argument over who was the better player. And in some cases, you might acquiesce and say, yes, you're right. I will give you Reggie Jackson and Yogi Berra. I don't know. I mean, we'll give you 2 cards for Pete Rose. Pete Rose is a bad example, but I think you get the point. Now you've actually made a deal. We forgot about that when we got older. We forgot about that. People will say now that one of the best cards I've seen that I got in the mail, finish the sentence. I will sell my home if you could get me, and fill in the blank of the dollar amount. Somebody sent that to me as a mailer. I could see that actually working. I could see that actually working. What kind of deal making can you actually do? And take it a step further. What kind of deal making can you do within REIGNation, within the agents here? If you actually called Marlene and said, I may or may not have somebody moving to Orlando, how can we make each other a collaborative team in my own region, in my own area? Guys, Marlene won't hang up on you. Terry won't hang up on you. Kenny won't hang up on you. They won't yell at you. They won't do anything bad. You want to learn how to make a phone call? Pick up the phone and call the people that are right here, right now. Call John. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of dead birds on his wall, but aside from that, he's a good guy. I like John. John Baton right there in Connecticut. So I want you to start thinking a little bit more strategically. So what else are we doing in this thing? You got to look out your most recent transaction. What's the property address? What was the sales price? What was the commission? What was the buyer name? And then step one, identify the 10 neighbors in that area. We're going back to what Paul was saying, circle prospecting. It was great. Think, okay, hold on. I got to pause here for Marlene. Create a Facebook private group for your neighborhood. I'm in a brand new market with no office, and I didn't know not one person. Created this group for the developments I live in 9 months ago. We have 7 transactions. So, hold on, Marlene. I know you're doing something there. You want to unmute? Okay.
I'm sorry. My dog is about to bark. Good
Well,
morning.
I could take, first of all, love the hair. Secondly, good haircut. Love that. Secondly, you attribute 7 deals. Hey, dog. You attribute 7 deals to the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, when the next Facebook group thing that we do, and we do revisit that probably once a quarter as well, I want you as a speaker on that
Okay.
because that's huge. How many people did you actually get into that Facebook group? Paula is like actively listening here. Look at Paula. And
As of yesterday, so there's 682 homes in the development I live in, and as of yesterday, I have 455
so
people.
it's 455 people, or could it be husband and wife on different accounts?
Could be.
Okay.
Could be.
So, but you still think you've got more than half of the community on that Facebook page.
Mhm.
Okay. And he spent a lot of money on that Facebook page.
Nothing. Zero.
Nothing. That was a rhetorical question. I knew the answer.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's amazing.
EA, who does a lot of the work for me.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'm jealous of you people that have developments, that you can really farm.
And Paula, you know what? You're right. There is a leg up that we have from that, but it doesn't take away the leg ups that you have in your communities as well. Because you've said that more than once. I want you to recognize that, again, strategy and structure is going to be what wins out. Marlene, I'm so pleased to have you in the meeting. I'm always pleased to have you, but I'm so pleased that you actually brought that up. Guys, we need to think about what we're going to do. Go ahead, Paula.
Yeah, there was something else that I heard at a seminar recently where a girl from New York moved to Colorado, knew no one, and she got on one of these neighborhood things like next door, I think, and
Sure.
she did not advertise as a realtor, which I have done for a short time and it produced nothing, so don't waste your money. What she was doing was making contacts, um, comments on the site, offering suggestions, and creating, being like the go-to person for her development. It was a development. And she became very well known and a resource for people to talk to her and say, hey, Karen, what do you think of this? Or whatever it is. And I think that's amazing. I was just so impressed by that.
All this stuff is great, and that brings me to the commercial pitch that I have here. Just two. One, come next Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. If you're interested in coming to that, we're going to be talking about the next quarter planning, as I already said. The following Friday, we're going to do a whole thing about using AI before it uses you and replaces you. And I want you to know about that. Also, when it comes to the leverage, we are rolled out as a marketing company. If you would like your own AI avatar and you want that type of marketing done for you, please indicate so either in the chat or by emailing Daniel at Bogen Homes, and we will tell you about that. Paula, we're working on her AI avatar. It is a service that we're bringing to the forefront for a lot of you who've said that you're not email or technical savvy or all that. So that's my commercial pitch. If you're interested, please do send an email to Daniel, or Rich just said yes. That's great. Rich, Daniel will make note of that and we'll get back out to you. Okay, so that's my commercial pitch for this so far. What agents? I wish Tinka was here right now. Tinka, certainly it's less so now, but there was a time where 35% of her business came from other agents, right from within the office. Right from within the office. How could this be? This is my competition. Wait a minute. I don't want to. It's not so. We have a life. We get all we're traveling, we're doing stuff. We don't always have the experience to deal with certain things. I've told the story many times that I lost a deal because of my gender. There was a guy who said I was the better realtor, but he doesn't see real estate as something that men should sell. And I looked at him and I said, well, someday we're going to break that glass ceiling and win. but it taught me something that there are people that will win or lose deals. And there's plenty of people in your office that you could even just say to them, do you have any listing appointments coming up? And do you need help? Especially the younger people. You can make a deal with them. Deal making within the own office. Now, why do I say this? Nobody else is really doing that. People make an enemy out of realtors. The dumbest move you could have made. I've had people leave the mastermind here because I'm with Douglas Elliman and they went to Compass or went to Sotheby's or went somewhere and thought, okay, maybe I can't be in this. Most of you now, guess what, aren't with Douglas Elliman. It's, we're one bad management away from moving to another company. I care about you, not the company. I mean, I hope you like your brands, but come on. So I just want to be very clear about that. Identifying agents, really, really big. There's another thing that we have in this scripts. This is a door knocking script, and we've got an email template as well for you to use, as well as an agent collaboration email. I mean, this is some pretty good. We worked pretty hard on this, guys. So I really suggest you download it. And then we get to another part in this: identify your $1 million activity framework. We're going to talk about how much of this actually has value, and I'll read them. Listing presentations, buyer consultations. Many of you have had listing presentations. Very few of you have a buyer consultation. That's really the mirror image of a listing presentation. Do you actually meet and qualify with the buyers? And if it's the guy's like, well, no, I'm only in town, I can't do it, he's probably not going to be for real. You tell them that we are a full service agency. We are working on understanding the client, understanding this, and getting the nuances of where we could go. We need to meet with you. If they say no, if you don't have any opportunity there, I really question the long-term value. Paula, unmute yourself and please go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. I actually put together like I have my listing presentations all ready to go, moment's notice, but I started to make buyer presentation packets because that's important, number one. But my real question was for, where did he go? Terry, not Terry, the guy that said don't put the YouTube link
چطوری؟
on.
خداش خواستم اتفاقا زنگ بزنم بهت.
Parker.
Okay, I just muted Hedeka, who left her.
Hi. Parker said, don't post videos on LinkedIn directly. Don't post directly. Don't use the URL from YouTube. Why is that?
Who said that?
Paul.
Parker Zwiebin.
Oh, that's Paul's son is his name on there. I don't know. Is Paul still here? Paul's somewhere.
I don't see. No,
I don't see him.
He was in the car. He was there a minute ago, but that was his suggestion, and I don't know the answer.
Okay, well, we'll get into that as well. The activities. Let's just talk briefly about this so that we go. Listing presentations, buyer consultations, deciding your pricing strategy, your database mining. We were talking about that with Paula. Property showings, open houses, contract negotiation, transaction coordination. Why do I mention all of these things? Because there is marketing in each of these. There's opportunities in each of these moments where you're actually meeting people, pressing the flesh with people, and being able to leverage what actually works. You know, your lawyer, your mortgage broker. I oftentimes say, if you have a CPA, it's tax season now. If you're paying somebody, they damn well be giving you leads. You better be getting some leads. At least they ought to be trying your CPA. CPAs are like a weird bunch. They became CPAs because they're not salespeople. And they don't want to do what we do. But they oftentimes know early on what's going on with the competition, with people that need to move. So I think that that's really an important thing. I want you to mark down your top 3 activities that you're doing. If you need to make an exhaustive list, make that exhaustive list and mark down the top activities that you actually do to build business. And really, it should pop out at you on the screen. It should jump out at what's the most productive. Much of what we're doing and how we learn, you know, the number one way to learn something, the number one reason we don't learn is because it's not so much that you need to learn, it's that you need to learn how to not forget. So you've learned some material, and there's a great guy, you should follow his podcast, named Andrew Huberman. Daniel, if you could find him, you could Google him. He's a professor, he's a neuroscientist, remarkable man, actually. And he's got a podcast. Uh, he's out of Stanford, in California. And he really has done great research into learning. And since I consider myself a lifelong learner, I think it's important to know you need to learn not, what strategy can you do to not forget? So you learn certain material and it oftentimes gets completely lost. What I want you to do is find out in your learning process who are or what are your top three marketing activities that you could actually do. And then I want you to lean on to just that. The stuff that comes secondary to that, what can you do to delegate? Marlene mentioned she's got her team. I've got my team. Can some of the stuff be actually delegated? And then finally, stop chasing crappy deals. I've got some of you who come in here, it's like, well, there's money to be made. It will suck the life out of you. It will suck the life out of you. Demand respect no matter what, no matter where you are, what you're doing. You need respect. You're just not going to work for very, very long if you feel as though you're somebody's bitch. There, I said it. Don't be somebody's bitch. You actually go out and get the respect that you want and deserve. I think it's really important. Okay. In any case, I'm not going to go through all of this here because I do want you to read this, but I will talk about this. Your contacts, your A plus contacts, your A contacts, your B contacts, and your C contacts. It's exactly as it sounds. A plus, there should be very, very few people in that realm. And by the way, it changes. It's not always the same. But there's one of you, I forgot who it was. He said you got 30 people that you really consider like A to A plus. That's a lot. That's a lot of people to stay on top of. That's a lot of Christmas gifts. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of nurturing. And by the way, if you told me that you were just going to lean on in on those and you consistently got business from that, I'd say bravo. I'd say great. But I'd also say let's find a way to put the others on a drip campaign. So by understanding what you're doing, and Daniel, remind me, we're going to do something next quarter on drip campaigns because I think it's important. I don't think we've done enough on drip campaigns. Okay, so that's that's the workbook. I hope all of you use it, learn it, love it. And again, if you're interested in getting an AI avatar, definitely send an email to Daniel at Bogen Homes or post something over here. Who else wants to share some thoughts on this? Mark, I see that you're, I think, on a machine. You're looking all, sexy. Mark, you want to unmute yourself?
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, the multiplication thing made me think, and I'm Mark Lawrence. Actually, I've been in the title insurance business for 18 years, but before that, I was an agent in New York City with the Corcoran Group. But one of the last listings I had actually was a attorney I worked for when I practiced law. I've done a lot of things, as you could see, but I got his exclusive listing, even though he's the only person who fired me. So there's a good example for never burn a bridge. And it turned out someone in the building had an open house for people in the building. I invited some people. Someone came up. She put in an offer, direct deal. Then she said, "Can you sell my listing, my apartment downstairs?" So that turned into, I guess that's a one, two, three. That's like ding, 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 jackpot. So that's a good example. And Edmund was mentioning LinkedIn. He used to actually have a company called 6 Degree, I think it was called, or 6 Degrees.
First degree.
First degree. I don't know. Or we used to say that you can get to anybody by 6 degree or 3 degrees or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 1 degree of Edmund Bogen. But LinkedIn, has first level, second level, third level connections, and as Edmund was mentioning, it's really a good place. Like if you want an introduction to somebody, see who they know, or I guarantee you type in a name, you've got always at least one person who can probably make that connection to you, depending on how large your network is. At least I do. But
Well, Mark, before we get off of that, just to give you an idea to help you along, you see anybody here work expired listings? Let me look at this here. Any show of hands? Does anybody ever work expired? One. Okay, so two of you. Okay, so the rest of you don't. Two of you, but I'll convince you why you should.
Call them daily.
Oh, and Vivette does too. Okay, so if you have an expired listing today, more than ever, I told you, information is so free. You could find out who owns that house very easily. Isn't that true? Nod wildly. Yes, Ed, you're right. Okay, good. And the next thing is you could go on to LinkedIn and quite possibly find who that person is and see if you're connected. If I see that I'm connected to Terry through Marlene on a first degree or a second degree connection, we're able to actually now have a pitch that you could give to Marlene to get that introduction to Terry. So, again, some of you swear by this, some of you work on that in that way, and others say, no, it's stupid. I don't want to do it. And that's fine. I'm not emotionally connected to these ideas. I'm just loaded with hundreds of them. But some of you have been able to really build the leverage out of the intelligence. I will stand by that all of you need to start using intelligence a little bit more to be able to get that upper edge of who might be coming to market, who's not, who was recently widowed, who's getting divorced. Sounds terrible, sounds diabolical. Somebody's going to get the business. God damn it, it might as well be you. Okay? I just want to be really clear about that. It might as well be you. So let's think about that. And again, I've heard too many people have come to me and said that they feel guilty and then give it to a great charity. Give all the money away. Do something and tell the people that you're doing that. I don't care. I just think that some of you have treated success as if it was a symptom of a disease. And I just think that that's the wrong kind of attitude. Mark, did you have another
No,
question?
no, I agree with everything that you're saying. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with, being successful and making money and, as long as you're ethical and do things the right way.
Mark, let me throw one other thing out. You're on some type of machine right now and looking mighty sexy on that.
No,
Yeah.
no, I got off the Peloton,
Okay.
but
Okay. So,
yeah.
you got that whole, sexy workout thing going, and that's great. But you're a fat boy. I'm a fat boy. You started the Fat Boy Fit Club. Again,
Mhm.
women kind of go, how could you say fat boy? Well, can you tell everyone about the Fat Boy Fit Club?
Yeah, so I, was very resistant to being on any type of video, and but having been and I don't like to talk much about it. I had a triple bypass 10 years ago. I'm only 55, so and I had stents when I was like 35. So basically, I'm just a fat, unhealthy guy that likes to eat and drink, but I have a good time. But so I do have to exercise and, at least, I want to be around a little bit longer. I'm having a good time. So, I found during COVID, it's pretty easy for me, and it's right behind me. There's a fake screen to ride my, Peloton bike for 30 to 45 minutes in the morning. And while I was doing it, of course, I wasn't paying to the attention to the instructors and how fast I was supposed to go. Instead, I'm on my phone. So I start practicing taking videos of myself. And one of the videos I said, it's just another day, morning. It's just another day at the Fat Boy Fit Club. I happened to post that video. And a lot of people said, how do I join this Fat Boy Fit Club? I'm a fat boy too, like Edmund, admittedly, will say. Um, and of course, listen, people right there, I say to me, like, you're not fat. I'm like, you know what? But again, part of life is being able to laugh at yourself and be able to,
Well, let's
be
take it
that,
full circle.
yeah.
How many people actually join the Fat Boy Fit Club or join the website, the Facebook?
Over 300.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I saw a lot that I didn't know even, and it was a good way, to build the network really through, and it was a good way for me to practice being on video and being comfortable. And God knows now with every, video conferencing and stuff like that, being able to present, feel comfortable with yourself, be aware of what angles you look good at. Even here, I put the towel over my shoulders because I'm just not that buff. So, so self-awareness and
So,
self-confidence really can come through things like that.
So what I'm basically saying with all of that is he found a way to connect, and he found
Mhm.
something that it's something I got it right away. I'm like, let me join the Fat Boy Fit Club. He's a fat boy. I'm a fat boy. It's not again, you would never call it the Fat Chicks Club. I don't think it would work necessarily the same way.
No.
Something a little bit different about it, but somehow it resonated with a group of people, and you can now use that to extend the relationships that you have. That's what we're really talking about here. So I think that it's all really, really important. I think it's important for all of you to think about the different options that are there. Wednesday, we've got the next meeting. Wants, needs, and brags. I want to find out, this is now the time of the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need,
Yeah,
And
Kenny
what
made
you
another good point in the comment about not door knocking with a partner, actually. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, Stacy Young, an agent at Element when I was over there, we used to door knock our listings and separately or and we started doing it together and we triangulate the conversation. Two of us at the door is a better way of connection. I've always wanted to go to somebody's door like I'm the Verizon network, like with 10 agents or something. But if you got a team or something, you got two people. Even I took my wife once and the person answered the door and speaks Spanish. My wife's Japanese, but speaks Spanish. So you get a better possibility of you get invited in, whatever recipes, but if instead of directly one person at the door and they say yes or no, you get a conversation going. So it helped
Sure.
us get leads and get some listings.
Sure. Okay. Good stuff. Love it.
If you're a team member or want somebody to just door knock with, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So listen, Paula knocks with her son, man, woman combo works well. Yeah. One thing I could say, if you're going to door knock, wear the badge that says the company and who you are. I mean, we're in a very dangerous time where people have guns and people get a little crazy. The last thing I want you to do is take advice from here. And up there we go. Paula's showing off her badge. Okay. Wants, needs, and brags. Now it's time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. Does anyone have anything that they've accomplished this week that they want to talk about? A deal that they put through, a lead that they got, a kid that just had a birthday, a charity that they just gave to? Did anyone beat cancer? I mean, we could talk about absolutely anything that went on. Lavette, thank God. Lavette, tell everyone who you are and where you are, please.
Hi, Lavette Bell from Norfolk, Virginia.
Great.
Um, as I said earlier, I do call expires every day, and I came across a guy who I called, and he said he wanted to sell his house. He was currently under contract with a wholesaler, one of those we supposedly buy houses for cash people,
Sure.
and but they had been ghosting him. He was under contract. They weren't responding to his emails or phone calls, and I told him, I said, send them a email terminating your contract. So once I stepped in, of course, they wanted to be Johnny on the spot and start calling him, but he terminated. They started bullying him and trying to bully me. Anyway, we went on to list his home. I The other agent that was trying to get her buyer the house, whatever, reached out to me, and we actually did a deal, got it under ratified before the listing even went up. This all happened on Friday. So if you don't know anything about these wholesalers and their deceptive business practices, you should really learn how they work. You could save a lot of people.
Okay, so good stuff. Go after that. Thank you, Lavette. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Marlene, you've got a 31-year-old? Yeah, you're muted there. You got a 31. You don't look like you're doing anything for 31 years.
I have a 32-year-old now today, a 31, and a 28-year-old.
Wow. Any grandkids?
Not yet. That's why I moved to Orlando. I'm waiting
You're waiting for grandkids.
patiently.
Okay. Wow, you don't look like a grandma.
Well,
Does that look like a
I need.
grandma? That's my grandma looked like Jack Palance.
Well, send me some
Actually
referrals.
sounded like Jack Palance. I gotta
I
tell
need
you.
to close. I need to close an extra one or two homes to be able to afford all the creams.
Okay, we're gonna get that going for you there. I love that. Happy birthday, Alexandra. I've got a sister,
Thank you.
Alexandra. That's wonderful. Who else before we wrap up here? Anyone? 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 Ferris Bueller? Ferris Bueller? Anyone get the reference? No? Maybe? Avez-vous compris? Somebody? Okay, Paula. I knew I'd get Paula to say something. Go on, Paula.
No, I'm always going to say something. I'm
Please.
just
Go
so
ahead.
excited to see what this AI avatar looks like. That's all.
Yeah, and we are too. And just keep in mind, it's never done on the first go round. We're going to iterate, change, add, do more. But yes, we are. I am speaking with Aton. We have you on our agenda to get that done. So Paula is
She
excited.
won't. She won't make mistakes like I do.
She will do whatever the humans put into the computer. So the mistakes happen. It's driven by us, but we will get into that as we go on. We'll definitely talk about that. Okay. Anyone else wants, needs, to brag? Christine B, who's here. I don't know who Christine or Marie Josie, Mary Josie. Lisa's here. All these silent people in the background. Oh, now they ran away. Okay. Well, That's all I got today, guys. 9:54. I'm going to stick around at the end and show a couple of AI tricks for those that want to stay. But in the meantime, Terry, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is really the exciting point of the meeting where I like to say, it sure was good seeing all of you today. It really was so much fun. I hope to see all of you Wednesday morning for another exciting episode of Mazel
REIGNation.
tov. Okay, thank you, Terry. And again, the meeting is officially over right now. But again, for those of you that want to stick around, we could talk about a bit of AI, as a lot of you do like that. Who's got an AI question? We'll start with this. And
Have a
we'll
great day, folks.
take care,
Have a
Terry.
nice
Thanks for
day.
coming.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. So, who's got an AI question? Has anyone seen or used certain AIs that they have questions about, or read about certain AIs, or want to know before I jump into a couple prompts that I'm using?
Not really about avatars, but more a whole automated system, because I've been seeing like Facebook ads about I guess for AI, for call prospecting and some other stuff. And I kind of saved the screenshot of it because I wanted to look into it later. So I'm looking for kind of like a full automated system, I guess, that will help me with cold call. I'm a one-stop. I do everything myself. So I don't have TCs or, anyone else that helps me. And I'm predominantly a listing agent. I just really go after listings. I don't really work with buyers.
Good.
So I do a lot of cold calling. I would like to do, more circle prospecting when I get these listings, but I'm just getting overwhelmed. Right now I have 12 listings
That's
and
great.
five are under contract. So I'm juggling a lot, so I don't know. I just need
Okay.
more.
Well, as far as the answer to cold calling, Aton and I tried it. It will be there. It's not just there just yet. It could be available this year. It's not perfect by any means. It's much better on the inbound call side, I think. The outbound, there's certainly some, and it's getting better and better and better. Let me throw out a couple things that I think you guys ought to know. Again, to pull the curtain from behind the wizard from behind the curtain here. I have a prompt which I will share with you if you'd like it. I'm going to pull up the screen in just a moment. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find the thing here. Okay, we're going to go to prompts. I'm going to share this in one moment. Okay, we're going to go to Otter. Okay, now a lot of you see these meetings are being recorded by something called Otter. And again, I'm going to pull up my prompts. Okay, here we go. Just take a look at this. So one of the things that I did was created what I call the mega prompt. So I actually created a prompt that we want the content that we load into the AI to be actionable. We want to generate post scripts, all sorts of stuff from this. Actually, to be more specific, we want to create 5 Facebook posts, 3 Instagram posts, five Instagram stories, 5 posts for X, formerly Twitter. I don't know when we could stop saying formerly Twitter, but that's what it is. LinkedIn posts. We're going to make an AI avatar narrative. We're going to make 3 scripts for that. We're going to make 1 blog, and we're going to make an image on Midjourney. And how are we going to do all of that? You, all of you today, I thank you because you helped me write that script. Let me show you how. So this meeting was recorded in the transcripts. It's actually still being recorded. We could see this right here. And you can see these autopilots are getting word for word what is being said in these meetings. I'm going to take this mega post and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go to, let's go to Claude. Actually, since most of you are on ChatGPT, we're going to go to ChatGPT just for some fun here. And I'm going to enter that post in. Good. First part done. Second part, I'm going to go and get the entire transcript from this meeting up. This was Aton's. He had a limit. Let me just see where mine is. Here we go. Okay, so now we're going to go down and actually get the full transcript here, what at least up until the point of the end of the meeting. let's see what we are here. Okay, 41 minutes, 48 minutes. And here, we're going to just go right here. And I'm going to copy the whole thing. Okay. Now we're going to copy that. We're going to go back to ChatGPT, having put that prompt in, and now I'm going to paste. Okay. So now I'm going to paste that, and I just pasted this all in. What you're seeing here, and again, trust me, this is all of the transcript up until 51 minutes of this meeting. So I put a prompt in asking for the AI to do something with the transcript, and then I put the transcript in itself. And let's see what chat comes up with. So now it's giving actually the summary, the key takeaways from the meeting. Again, you guys helped me write this without even knowing it. Anyone who was involved in this, you see the summary of the meeting. How do we get such great summaries? We generate it from AI. There's no excuse not to look at what's being written, by the way. But what you can do is certainly escalate this. Now here we've got my 5 Facebook posts. Okay, which is great. So Facebook is actually creating these posts for me based on what was discussed. Let's keep going here. It's taking a little while for this to go through, and that's very typical when you're doing a video. And here's our Instagram posts. First, it's making carousel slides. And in the end of this, it's going to also create trying to get all this stuff out of the way here. It's going to create instructions based on what was said on an image that could be created by AI. So it's going to now give us a description in its work to tell us what we could do. And it's still propagating through all this stuff. Here's my Twitter posts. Again, you may or may not like any of these. Some of them completely suck. This was just my post. This is my prompt that I wrote, and I think that it works pretty well. But now you could see all the stuff that's actually being generated. Let's just go on with a little bit more. Hopefully we'll get to, oh, here's the AI avatar scripts. So my AI Ed, for those of you who know him, most agents celebrate when they have a close a deal, but did you know one listing could lead to 7 transactions, blah, blah, blah. So it goes on with the different scripts. I don't really like that one that much. You do need to iterate and make certain changes. And now here it's writing a blog post, again, based on what was actually discussed. Now here's the mid-journey prompt. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to take what it's doing here, and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go to Midjourney. Okay, it's one AI that created the audio, that created the that tape recorded the meeting. One AI took it and transferred it into the notes, and still another AI actually making an image. So this here is creating this, and it may or may not be good. Guys, there is a failure rate here. Somebody says, well, I tried it, it wasn't so good. Absolutely. You need to, this is not some excuse not to work, but this is something that actually comes up. So let's take a look here. And Eitan and I, by the way, he's a dear friend and my partner. We fight over this. I think this sucks. This thing right here, I think this absolutely sucks. This is not the imagery of what, I don't think it resonates with what it actually discussed today. So we'll have to iterate from there and actually create it. And create more. But the point of the story is this, that by actually going into, by taking what was actually recorded, you're able to go from point to point and be able to utilize information the way you may never have considered before. Where were you in this? Did you write those? No, you didn't write them. You curated them. There's a difference. You actually curated that information. So I throw that out to all of you just to think about. That's one AI tip that I have for you, being able to take this. If you're interested in the prompt, please send an email to Daniel at Bogen Homes. Again, you don't need to post it here. Just send him an email saying, hey, I'd like that prompt, and we will send that to you as well. Any other AI questions that we have here? Again, I really like that prompt. I've shown that before, but I want to emphasize that the whole idea behind this is that you're able to leverage what you've been already working on. And to me, that's a real advantage. I mean, there's something to that, to be able to utilize what you've already put time into. We could repurpose information over and over again. Daniel, make note, we need to do another meeting at some point on repurposing data and how we could do that. Lisa Combs, how important is X in the realm of social media platforms for realtors? I think it's very important if you use it. I think it's very important. Any one of these things, I like to say I'm technology and social media agnostic or anti-social media. I don't care. I mean, I meet a lot of agents, particularly some of the older ones. They make the most money out of everyone, and they don't know how to send a tweet. You know, they don't know how to put, they don't know how to turn on the fucking computer. Okay, there really are people that are completely clueless. So X can be extremely important to you if you utilize it. I think that's really, it might be a frustrating answer, but that's the God's honest truth. Other questions? Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Good to see you. Anyone else?
Edmund, where's that Mid-Journey bot at?
Okay, so Mid-Journey you could access by Googling Mid-Journey and coming up to it. What you were actually looking at, is anyone here on Discord? Mark, friend me on Discord, okay? If you can. So Discord is basically a gamer's kind of platform. And that's what I was accessing it from. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there on how to use Discord. Basically, it creates a community for the different tools that I use. You know, for example, there's a new thing called Manus AI. There's something called ULearn, which in my opinion is going to put much of the tutors and educators out of business. ULearn is probably one of the most important AIs that you've never heard about. Let me pull this up here just so all of you could see. If you have a kid that's in school, if you yourself consider yourself a lifelong learner, as I do, then you really ought to take a look. Where the hell is this thing? There we go. Okay, so this is ULearn. What do you want to learn today? So you could take a link from, let's say, YouTube. Somebody give me a topic. Shout it out. I don't care what the topic is.
Airbnb.
So how to start an Airbnb business. So here, we're making the assumption that this is good content. I don't know whether it is or it's not, but I'm going to take this here and I'm going to put it into ULearn. And what's going to come up with this is an actual lesson plan. Once again, because we're on Zoom, it's taking an excessive amount of time, but here we go. So now this thing has welcome to the chat. Ask me anything. I might not always be right, but your feedback. So now the AI has listened to or reviewed this entire video. You can now chat with this AI about the video. So I could say, what is one key takeaway from this video? And let's see what we got. One key takeaway from the video is that Airbnb is not a real estate game, but a hospitality business while you're acquiring real estate assets. So blah, blah, blah. It gives you flashcards. So for those of you who are students, again, lifelong learning here. And again, it does take a while because we are on, what is the main purpose of video titled How to Start Your First Airbnb Business? It's got a 63 flashcards. If you need a hint, you could click on it here. Actually, that gave the actual explanation. There's also an actual study guide that it will create. And it will give you questions to question you so you could test yourself throughout the process of learning. Explain how to effectively find and hire cleaners and handymen for your Airbnb business. If you don't know, you could click I don't know. And it will give you the answers here. And that came at, where was it? 32 minutes and 41 seconds into the video. It is just a remarkable way to learn. I'm just telling you guys, it is a great, great tool. I wish you would consider it. Um, because there's just so much, and then you're going to be able to repurpose that information. You want to learn programming, as I'm constantly studying Python. If you want to learn how to use you want to learn how to use social media, find the video on YouTube that explains it, put it into ULearn. And ULearn, by the way, is a whopping $130 a year, which if you care about your education and care about what you're doing, let's face it, it's free. That's free. That's no money in the scheme of things. And it's just remarkable stuff. So, okay, so those are my two AI tips for you today. I hope you utilize it. Paula, we're working very hard on getting you something shortly. Mark, we need to catch up. I will be in New York at some time, probably the summer. It's going to be a little while, but I'm giving you the heads up. I'm planning on going to Israel in mid-June, and I will be in New York just prior to going there. I haven't been back to Israel in about 30 years, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it's great to see everybody. I hope to have everyone back for another exciting episode of REIGNation. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Evan.
The Hollywood
You
Squares.
too.
Thank you.